I see Salah. May peace be upon you today, tomorrow, and forever. I am Yusef Bunchy Shakur, the grandson of Minnie and Walter. I am the son of Ava, Joe. I am the brother of Rachel and Julia. I am the native of Zone 8. My mother was a great teacher, and even in her passing, she's still teaching. Amen. And the lesson that she's teaching to us now, that every death is not an ending. You see, when you live a life that's meaningful, there's no ending. My mother lived a life that was meaningful, that was beautiful, that was about helping others, about evolving, about growing. See, my mother no longer functioned as a human being. She began to function as a superhero. That's right. And her superpowers was to be able to love, was to be able to care, was to be able to give a damn. And many of you in this audience have felt that and so much more. You see, my mother loved you whether you was a wretch, whether you was cracked out, smoked out, had been nodding. You just came from a crack game in front of a house. She never turned her door on you. But before then, my mother was a little girl who had to make the toughest decision in her life. When she told her mother that she was pregnant at the age of 15, and her mother said, "You should abort that baby." And that's when my mother discovered her superpowers. Because in that moment, she couldn't see that. Because that love that she had inherited from her mother, that grit, that determination, that heart of gold from her father. I can't abort this. No matter how hard it's gonna be, I'll figure this out. By the age of 24, she would have 2 other children. And unfortunately, like my mother and many black women who are stigmatized for being single mothers, for men leaving them, and many scars and abuse that she experienced from a sexist and a racist and a patriarchal society. Come on now. Jeez, brother. That it was in her victimhood that she found her womanhood. Yeah. She took the excuses off the table. And anybody that know my mother, she walked by her own beat. Yeah. She made her own rules. Yeah. She created a life that was worth honoring. And unfortunately, I would break my mother's heart when I joined the Zone 8 gang. And my mother would make the second toughest decision of her life, which was to make me a ward of the state at the age of 15. Not because she believed in the system, but because she believed in her son. That she wanted more for her son. Come on now. Because she saw something I didn't see, because I was too blinded, that I possibly would get killed or end up in the penitentiary for the rest of my life. So I only could imagine the nights that she wrestled with that decision. And when she finally came to that conclusion, and we walked in the court, and she said what she said. Of course I'm mad and I'm pissed off, because my limited mind can't comprehend how I became a danger to my own family. See, the first gang that I claimed was my family, but I had violated that by running with another gang, my neighborhood. And when she came to visit me in the youth home, still being her boy and trying to manipulate her. Why did you do this to me? You hurt me. And she looked at me. Boy, you have hurt me a long time ago. Well, you just don't know how hard it's been to endure, to love you despite what you do. See, my mother was a lioness that wasn't afraid to go into the streets when I was hanging with hyenas. Go on the street when I was hanging with hyenas. And I remember vividly when I first time tried to sell crack cocaine on 16th Street.
Come on, now.
Everybody knows me. I'm JoJo. I'm Ava Joe's son. It didn't take long to get back to her. And all you heard was, get your ass out of there. Mind you, we got the door barricaded and I'm still hiding in the closet. Because that's how scared I was. And I didn't climb out the window so I was for certain that she had left. And I ran up on Marquette and 14th and hid at the park, deliberating. Like, I gotta go home, but I don't want to go home, because you know when I went home what was waiting for me. But that was my mother. That was that love.
That's right.
That tough love.
That's right.
That despite love. You know what I'm saying? I was that wretched person that she still saw the good in me.
That's right. Yeah.
That she was willing to go in those alleys and fight those hyenas.
That's right.
To protect her son and bring me home. Ultimately, I would end up going to prison for a crime I didn't do. But what you got, most people don't know, because we always say that, right? My mother knew that for sure. And when that moment happened, Ava Joe hated Zone 8. She was ready to go to war with Zone 8. Because her baby was gone. She couldn't comprehend it. Actually, she hated it. She wanted to hurt somebody. But she healed her heart. Because she understood it was bigger than that. Because what most of you guys don't know, when they had the gang squad, which I was a frequent person there, and the officer told me in front of my mother that I'm gonna love sending your son to prison. So she understood the dynamics in the system, right? But to understand the superpowers that my mother had, and I'm pretty sure it went something like this, that she had a conversation with God. Like, I don't know where he's at and how he's gonna be, but I need you to put your hands on that boy. I need you to bring him out of that situation, right? And they had a good conversation, right? But my mother, she was thorough. She didn't leave nothing to chance. And I'm pretty sure with her superpower, she appeared in a dream with my father, who I ended up meeting in prison. Like, I don't like your ass, but I need you to do your responsibility. I need you to step up and do what you hadn't done while he's here. Because I had reasoned 3 things on my way to prison. I had enemies there, my father was there, and I wasn't gonna be anybody's punk. You see, my mother raised a soldier. My mother raised a soldier. She raised me to love my sister, to protect my sisters, to protect my community. But because I had misinformation, because my heart was full of anger and frustration, it was misdirected, misguided. And going through prison and being able to transform my life, that most people have no idea, it wasn't about me. It was about healing my mother's broken heart.
Come on now.
I repeat, it was about healing my mother's broken heart. My redemption, my transformation. So I had to put JoJo to bed if I wanted to honor my mother. If I wanted to show her how much I loved her. Because she loved me when I didn't know how to love myself. So when I read the book, Black Women in White America, that night I cried myself to sleep. Because I realized if I had died at the age of 19, my legacy would have been a gang member. And I'd have disgraced everything that my mother, my grandmother, my grandfather had put in us.
That's right.
And I was granted a second chance to help other people to realize that first chance. So don't tell me prayers are not answered.
Come on.
Because my mother's prayers was answered. Those are their superpowers at work. See, my mother willed me to transform my life.
Come on now. Yeah.
My mother willed me to grow up, to change, to come home.
That's right.
See, I learned how to survive in the streets and survive those 9 years by watching my mother survive.
That's right.
Every struggle there is. And when I came home, now I watched my mother live. And she's continuing to teach me. So even in this, like my mother wanted to go to war with Zone 8, I wanted to go to war with God because I want my mother back. But she's teaching me, Joseph, you can't always fight with your hands.
Come on now.
You can't always fight with your hands. You got to learn how to fight with your mind. But also, as I told my son this morning, we're not going to always live forever. That this day is going to come. This day will come. If we don't understand the legacy, we don't understand the tradition of those who came before us, then the pain will be that much greater. See, there's a part of me that want to be guilty, feel guilty for some reason. Did I tell my mother I loved her enough? Did I say I kissed her enough? I did.
Yeah.
I did. See, my mother was always teaching when the little homeboys would be shooting dice in front of her house and I'd run them off. And she would set them back the next day. Why? Because that was me. That was JoJo. She know there's no refuge in the community. That's her again, accepting you as is and who you are. You see, and me and my sister, there's a little bit of my mother. Everybody thought I'm the hitter. See, for every superhero, there's a sidekick. And that sidekick's Rochelle. My mother say she's crazy as hell. But that good crazy. You see, that thing about black women we don't understand and we take for granted, that they love hard.
That's right.
They love hard. They demand the best. They ain't taking the BS from us.
Come on now.
My mother was a community mother. You know, those 9 years, and as my sisters was growing up and her friends was growing up and their friends was going through things with their mothers, my mother opened the door for them. She never turned them away. That's how beautiful and how special she was. Even in her retirement, I think she worked harder. She ran her house like it was a nonprofit. And I would get the calls, and there were some calls that I had no choice in the matter. Just do it. That's how my mother was.
That's right.
She was just a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful human being.
Yeah, man. Teach.
There's nothing I could achieve without Ava Jo being my mother.
That's right.
See, people look at me and say, you're a success story. No, I'm a success story because my mother was successful in raising me and raising my sister. And breaking the shackles that the society tried to place on her as a woman, as a black woman. I've learned more from my mother than I've ever learned from any school I've ever been to or ever go to.
That's right.
You see, my mother obtained her associate degree in being a mother. She returned her bachelor's degree in being a black woman.
That's right.
She attained her master's degree in helping people in these streets.
That's right.
She had a PhD in business without ever going to a school business. How many of y'all remember Johnny G? Huh? Ava Jo picked Johnny G up and cleaned him up and gave him a residence. And again, if you know Johnny G, you know the story. That's what I'm talking about. Saw the good in that man. And so many of us. Her couch was a therapy place. If you came there and you couldn't make it home, go lay on the couch, baby. When you done, you got your life together, then that's when you can leave. I don't have to say no names. Y'all know what we know.
That's right.
Because that's what she was. That's how she was in our community, man. And I know we're gonna miss that, right?
Yeah.
But the order of the day is the only way my mother dies if we don't continue that legacy. My mother taught me the importance of family. We ain't always gotta like each other, but we are family. And we got to be together. We have to love each other. My mother taught me the importance of values. And in the work that I do, I always show them, like, man, what is the values? Now it's making sense. That's what my mother did. She didn't waste it. Again, if you was talking BS, whatever. My mama got her climax from getting shit done.
That's right.
Not sitting there, you blowing smoke up her ear. You tell she gonna tell you, you wasting my time. I'm gonna miss her. I'm gonna miss her. But missing her, each day from January 25th, me and my sister's been very blessed and very fortunate that someone has came and shared something with us. The lady came in our house, and it's Miss Ava here. And we said, sorry, man, our mother passed. And the lady almost fainted and started crying. Julie looked at me, and I looked at Julie like, is that one of our sisters? is that a fact? I mean, the love overwhelming, right? And it's just so amazing to see your mother, your loved one, through someone else's eyes. And you know, I can comprehend why I see my mother as a superhero. A week later, I'm picking up some supplies from Home Depot, and I realize, like, this is what my mama did early in the morning. And I just break down and I'm crying. Because this is her tradition. And this lady says, excuse me, you all right? I say, no, miss, I'm hurting. You know, my mother just died. And this was her tradition of coming here. And she said, Miss Ava? Yeah, Miss Ava. Like, I know her, me and her play lottery together. Can I give you a hug? That's God. That's my mother. This morning. Man, I don't want to cry here, but I know your mother. She fought for me. She advocated for me. She fought for all of us. She advocated for all of us. And we have to continue to fight for us. We have to continue to advocate for us. That's what's important. That's what my mother would want, man. That's right. That's what made her so beautiful. That's what made her a superhero. And I know as my mother transitioned and getting ready to enter the ancestral realm, I know there's a Zone 8 section. I know there's a Zone 8 section. And as she walks in, Rocky is waiting for her. Kenwood, Tone, Scotty, BJ, Buki. They're her escort. And they're escorting her through there. And the first person she sees is Black. He hugs her and said, if I never told you, thank you for raising my daughter. And she whispered in his ear, I still don't like you. And as she continues to be escorted, she sees Big Daddy and Mushy. And they just hugs her and tell her, we're proud of you. And as they continue to escort her, the elders, so many elders from our neighborhood, who floors the ground that we stand on and tell her, thank you, we appreciate you. You carried on the tradition. You became the last house on Ferry Park. You are a last of a dying breed. And then her brothers would meet her. Shelton, I love you. Caesar, I love you. Henry, thank you for taking me in. Nick, thank you for helping me and guiding me as I was struggling with my dementia and not having any kids, knowing I could have just been there by myself. And you're my baby sister, thank you. Now, brother George Sr., not George, Gerald Sr. And as he walks up to her, she socks the hell out of him. And she socks him because she wants to remind him, I still remember when you hit me when I was a kid. And he hugs her and says, I love you. And then they walks her and she goes and sees her parents, Minnie and Walter. And she cries and they tell her, no, there's no need to cry. You did your damnness. You did your damnness. You held it down. We see the grit. We see the love. We see the determination. And behind them was our second mom, Gloria, smiling at her. And tells, thank you for all that you've done for my sons, for holding down our family. So, as we begin to wrap this up, On behalf of everyone, Ava Joe, we say thank you. Thank you. Thank you for loving us. Thank you for providing hope for us. Thank you for inspiring us. Thank you for accepting us for who we are. Thank you for pushing us to be our best. Thank you for living in a community that says it's no longer worth living in and helping us see the beauty where they're trying to pour ugliness on us. Thank you for helping us get our COVID tests. Thank you for teaching us and willing to go the extra mile. We love you. We will always love you. As Julia said, God makes no mistakes. As Rachel said, we cannot see her no more with our eyes, but we'll always feel you in our hearts. Thank you. Peace. We love you.